the high plains of the Midwest, I bid you good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever your time zone might be. My nod to the late and great Art Bell. I'm Keith Sharp.
And I'm G. Drussel.
And we welcome you to Life After Life, a paranormal webcast where we talk about the paranormal, UFOs, or the unexplained. And the biggest question of them all, what happens when we die? Stay tuned. Hey, man, this just about didn't happen. And if you notice the screen, it may look a little retro.
We're back in 1986.
Looks like we're back in the 70s, what it looks like. Anyway, how is everybody? Say hello in the chat room, guys. All right, let me do a few shout outs here. Kay's Creation, how are you? Randy Southwell. Garrett. Hey, Garrett, how are you?
Hey.
Pam All.
Terry.
Mona, this show's for you. I wish we wouldn't have screwed it up so bad.
We'll explain.
We'll explain, yeah. Let's see who else. Tim Bray, one of our regulars. Tim, good. Hello. And another regular. And I know, let's see. All right.
Ann just hopped in there.
Yeah, I just said hello to her.
Oh, hi, Ann.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so let me tell you guys what happened because it's kind of funny. So we were still getting the crazy microphone thing happening like we did last week, where it was kind of staticky.
Unacceptable on this show.
Hey, Doug. So right, and so watch them, Garrett. They're going to be in a chat room. We can't hear you.
Oh my God, dude! Please.
So anyway, I came in here for like 3 or 4 hours before the show. I'm messing around with it. I'm trying to get it to work.
I got here 2 hours early.
Yep, God, that's amazing right there. And it was still having problems. It's like you had to reset OBS. So if any of our listeners, I've said this a million times, no one's ever said anything, but if you guys know OBS, I will give you my personal phone number. Because we keep having this problem where if you don't shut it down and you don't restart it, it starts messing up. And that's the reason we have a problem with this screen thing. Did the same thing when we shared screen. So anywho, we have 15 inches of snow out here. It's another wonderful thing going on. So if we have a little slow internet, then I apologize. But can everybody?
Crazy, man.
Yeah, can everybody hear us? Okay. And that's still not the end of the story.
Continue. As you drink your death wish.
Death wish. Just got it in a Starbucks cup. That's all. So anyway, what happened is I thought, you know what? Garrett, I think I'll uninstall OBS and reinstall it.
And I said, do it.
And he said, do it. And we did. And then it says, well, do you want to save your settings? And I said, yeah, let's go ahead and save the settings just in case something happens. Save the settings, pull it back up, and the same problem. So then we go, all right, let's uninstall it.
Uninstall.
No settings.
None.
That means every scene that I set up, I have like 3 or 4 different scenes that I use for the slideshow and share screen, right? And it all disappeared. So
gone.
So the worst thing was the picture quality. For the picture quality we have now,
I'm impressed.
It looks a lot better than it did, man. I mean, we went from 1920s silent film looking
to hell.
Then we
looked like we were in hell at one time.
Yeah, then we got to the 40s and then the 50s, and I thought, let's just do it in black and white.
Yeah,
right.
Let's go for it.
And then 60s and 70s, and we're kind of 70s. We had a hard time with a lot of saturation problems and everything kind of shaking around. It's still not where I want it, but again, I will mess with it all day tomorrow and maybe even screw it up as more
cool
as we had. Hey, Melinda. So anyway, I'm glad everybody's saying the sound is good.
Okay, good.
Oh, thank God. I was about to have a heart attack.
Don't say that in the studio.
Oh, yeah, because I've really had a heart attack.
Yeah, please, dude.
Yeah.
So did Dr. Peter Hackett.
Yeah. Oh, and Mona, this show's for you, but I got to apologize. Because of what happened, I can't share a screen right now.
But if I need to do an impersonation of that event for Mona, I can.
Mona, you don't want to see that.
I can do it
No.
Hey, but isn't that really comical? You've seen that, right?
Yeah, his defibrillator goes off and he's like,
don't touch me.
Which either means it really happened and he's guilty and it upset him.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. There's some weird.
He didn't do it. But
There's some weird suspects in this thing.
there are.
Like the rich guy.
Yes.
I won't spoil it for him, but it's interesting.
It is.
Garrett's taking the lead in this one, you guys.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Finally.
Finally.
I've been waiting this entire time. You never let me.
Right. So
Just kidding.
no, that's not true at all. Anyway, it was kind of nice because I was busy packing. I was helping my father-in-law pack as well.
Right.
And didn't have. I mean, I listened to all I could, like in the car, everything else.
Did you listen to Unraveled?
Yes,
the whole thing.
Yeah. I listened to all of it.
I didn't get through the whole thing of that.
Well, see, I did better than you.
No. I did a lot of work because Unraveled came out recently.
Right.
So I mean, this case has been going on for 10, 11 years. Well, longer than that.
Yeah,
but
I was. Do you talk about like when I lived in New Jersey, the stuff? Well, I was there a year before it started, and then it started in 2010, I think, out there.
Mm-hmm.
And did you find a connection or anything with the Atlantic City murders in that? Part 2?
No. Yeah. No, I really didn't find any. The MO is a bit different.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So,
LISK.
now here's the funny thing too. I mean, we were up to the second when we went on air that we just fixed all this stuff. Or, well, I say fixed.
We'll see.
It's kind of half-ass fixed. So even the screen show that I have probably is not going to be in order at all. But we'll give it a shot, and we'll explain the pictures as we go. There's one that's really good about the. I like the map that I found.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Shows where all the bodies were.
Well, and Ann mentioned that it started like in the mid 90s. And
Yeah.
that is, so as per some theories.
Is Dr. Hackett still alive?
He is. Guess where he lives? Out of all the states in America, guess which state he lives in?
Where?
No, guess.
Oklahoma.
Florida. That's where all the crazies go.
Yeah, my friend Greg just moved to Florida.
I love Florida.
A year and a half ago.
I would think we belong
Yeah, he
there.
went because he hated the cold. But
Dude,
I wish I could take the camera and show you guys how much snow. There's
unbelievable.
yeah, it's crazy. Okay. And I just wanted to mention we are 15 members away from 1,000.
13 now.
Yeah.
Yay.
So anyway, thank you guys.
Hey, and really quick before we get into this, big move coming up, so we may or may not do
Yeah,
an episode.
I got a huge move coming up. We're closing on a house next Friday,
Moving to a new studio.
and we're gonna have a wonderful big studio, which is gonna be awesome. So it may not be a show. I got a lot of stuff to do besides working full time and getting this move ready, packing up everything, which is a nightmare. I'm so not looking forward to. I hate moving, man. I'm too
Moving's
old
the
to do
worst.
it anymore. Too old
But
to
hey,
do
it's
it.
going to be worth it.
Well, there's all that stuff in the attic. I mean, there's a ton of stuff in the attic
Dylan can do that.
that I got up there when I was in my 30s
Yeah.
that I don't know if I can get down now.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay, so we will try this screen or the slideshow and see how it goes. And my allergies are bothering me a little bit, so you're going to hear me going all through the show.
If audio
Worse
starts
than
messing up, let us
usual.
know.
So okay, there's that Asian guy, that picture.
Yeah,
It's so horrible.
it's okay.
That's not where I want.
Let's just keep it there for a sec.
Okay,
Or there. I actually really like that picture.
here we'll go with that one.
That's fine.
Okay,
Man, that's a really good looking dog.
let's go.
Okay. All right. So let's start talking about the crimes.
Let's do.
And I think it's important also to just mention that if it weren't for Shannan Gilbert going missing when she did,
This wouldn't have never been solved.
right?
Well, I mean, it would have been, but it sped things up. We'll say.
yeah. They may have not found the bodies even to this day. Because-
they weren't. Yeah, but they weren't really too far in that brush. I would think eventually a hiker or
Yeah,
someone at the
eventually,
beach
right.
would have found
That's
them.
true,
But
yeah.
but yeah, I think. But you're right. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. The thing about too is they weren't actively looking for a lot of these girls
Right.
and guy and toddler.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's unfortunate. I mean, because they were street workers,
Right.
I don't think they put too much work into it at all.
Well, even with the Gilbert case.
Yeah.
I mean, they screwed it completely up. All right, so let's talk about the crimes.
Let's talk about it.
The Long Island serial killer, also referred to as LISK, LISK. The Gilgo Beach Killer, or the Craigslist Ripper, is an unidentified suspect serial killer who is believed to have murdered 10 to 16 people over a period of nearly 20 years, mostly prostitutes, and left their bodies in areas on the south shore of Long Island, New York. The victims were found along the Ocean Parkway near remote beach towns of Gilgo and Oak Beach in Suffolk County and an area of Jones Beach State Park in Nassau County. The remains of 4 victims were found in December 2010, while 6 more sets of remains were found in March and April of 2011. Police believe the latest sets of remains predate the 4 bodies found in December 2010. On May 9th, 2011, authorities surmised that 2 of the newest sets of remains might be the work of a second killer, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Yeah. On November 29th, 2011, the police stated their belief that 1 person is responsible for all 10 deaths. They also had concluded that the case of Shannan Gilbert, an escort who disappeared before the first set of bodies were found, was not related. It is clear, this quotations, it is clear that the area in and around Gilgo Beach has been used to discard human remains for some period of time, said Suffolk County District Attorney Thomas Spoda. Let's talk about the investigation. In May 2010, Suffolk County Police were searching for Shannan Gilbert, a 24-year-old woman from New Jersey who was working as an escort and was reported missing on May 1st of that year. She was last seen in the Oak Beach area after she ran from a client's house where her driver, Michael Pack, was waiting outside. In December 2010, a police officer and his dog on a routine training exercise discovered the first body, the skeletal remains of a woman in a nearly disintegrated burlap sack, which will be interesting in a little bit.
Yeah, and I got a question about that later.
Okay. You don't have it now?
No.
Okay.
I'm waiting until we start talking about the suspects.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The discovery led to a search, and 3 more bodies were found 2 days later in the same area, on the north side of the Ocean Parkway. Suffolk County Police Commissioner Richard Dormer said, 4 more bodies found in the same location pretty much speaks for itself. It's more than a coincidence. We could have a serial killer. That's when things started really popping off with the media and people being aware of LISK.
Right.
A few months later, in late March and early April 2011, 4 more bodies were discovered in another area off the parkway near Oak Beach and Gilgo Beach. Suffolk police expanded the search area up to the Nassau County border, looking for more victims. Can you imagine?
No.
All of a sudden, you're just coming across this, gravesite. That's insane. On April 6th, Detective Lieutenant Kevin Smith of Nassau County Police Department said that his office will further explore and investigate any criminal activities which may be in close proximity to the recently discovered human remains found in Suffolk. Smith also said that Nassau County Police would be coordinating with Suffolk County and New York State Police on the investigation. 5 days later, the search for more bodies began in Nassau County. An additional set of partial human remains was found, as well as a separate skull, bringing the potential total number of victims found since December to a whopping 10.
Wow.
Unbelievable. On April 22nd, 2 human teeth were found about a foot away from the skull. On June 16th, 2011, Suffolk County Police raised the reward from $5,000 to $25,000, the largest offered in the county's history, for information leading to an arrest in the Long Island murders. On September 20th, police released composite sketches of 2 of the unidentified victims whose remains were found in March and April, an Asian male and Jane Doe number 6, as well as photos of jewelry found on the remains of a female, toddler and her mother, found on April 4th and 11th respectively. The toddler's mother was reported as one of the sets of remains found in Nassau County on April 11th. Also on September 20th, police revealed that the second set of remains found on the 11th matched 2 legs found in 1996 in a garbage bag that had washed up on Fire Island. That's interesting.
Yeah.
As of September 22nd, 2011, the police had received over 1,200 tips via text, email, and phone since the beginning of the investigation. On November 29, 2011, police announced that they believed 1 person is responsible for all 10 murders, and that the person is almost certainly from Long Island. The single killer theory was related to common characteristics among the condition and forensic evidence related to the bodies. On December 13, 2011, police announced that the remains of Shannan Gilbert were found in a marsh about a half a mile from where she had disappeared. A week earlier, they had found some of her clothes and belongings in the same vicinity. Police believe that Gilbert accidentally drowned after stumbling into the marsh. Her mother disagreed. Gilbert was last seen banging on a resident's door and screaming for help before running off into the night. Gilbert made a 911 call that night, saying she feared for her life. That was a 23-minute 911 call.
Yes, it was.
That has, still to this day has not been released by the police.
Yeah. Are we going into a little detail on that later, or
we can do it now if you want.
Just because she went to meet a John, right?
Yes.
And the John comes out of the house
the driver,
knocks on the door and said, "Hey, you need to come in here."
She's losing it.
Right. Here, I'll put this on us now for just a minute.
Yeah.
And they go back in the house. She's on the phone,
hiding behind the couch.
Behind the couch. And it almost made me think about, was this girl not taking her medication? Like the Elisa Lamb thing.
Right.
Almost like a psychotic episode, because the John acted like he didn't. He's like, "Hey, what's up with this?"
Yeah, because his job is to protect her.
Right. So, what do you think? I mean,
man, I don't. Cool, because initially I was thinking either lack of medication or under the influence of maybe drugs.
Yeah.
Because another interesting thing she said on there too is they are trying to kill me.
Yeah, very interesting. But what I don't understand, okay, she's in the house, right?
Right.
So how are they trying to kill her?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
You know, I mean, and there's really not a whole lot of information on the internet about whether was she a street drug user?
No.
Because everybody said that she drank a little bit, but wasn't a big drug user. But
it was actually like in school too.
Right.
Like she was using this as a way to obviously make ends meet. She wasn't, man, the distinguish between a prostitute and an escort is kind of a slippery slope, I think. Right. But you don't push that button. Do you want to push a button just so people know?
All right.
Sorry. We have fun here, okay?
I'll tell you guys, I've been having to hold Keith's hand back from that button probably 30 times in the last 5
I know
weeks.
it's in bad taste, but hey, we got to laugh.
It is a slippery slope though, and but her gig was, higher money. She's not out there like walking the streets. Her boyfriend, who is a piece of shit and abuser, punched her in the mouth and broke her jaw. That's how they were able to actually identify her. Was in on it, which is
the family talked and the family talked like she was a very stable person as far besides hey, girls got to do what a girl's got to do.
I mean,
and what my biggest thing was, she's saying they're trying to kill me. She's behind the couch. There's only one guy in there with her
that we know of, right?
That we know of, right?
Because they didn't circle back around and talk to this guy for like a year.
But I know, but do you think if that was the case, I mean, if something was really happening to her, that the John would actually walk out to the car and say, "Hey, there's a problem in here,"
right?
Or would he, if they were going to kill her, would they just kill her, walk out and take him and kill him and then take his car?
Well, I don't believe that this was actually related to the Long Island serial killer.
I kind of think that too. I'm not sure it's...
Well, for a few reasons. She had her cell phone.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into in a little bit.
Right.
Her driver takes her.
But they did find her close by those bodies, right?
They did, and behind Dr. Hackett's house.
Yeah, that's really... We'll get into that too.
Yeah, we will. But, so she has her cell phone on her. The Long Island serial killer would pick up his victims and ask if they didn't bring cell phones.
Say not to bring the cell phone.
Right.
God, that's a red flag for, I would think, any escort.
These people want money, and they're talking $1,500 for a couple hours of work.
Yeah, I know. But at the same time, I would still be asked him, no,
I got to have this.
I got kids. I've got a family.
Right.
In case of emergency. So, I mean...
Well, we'll talk a little bit about that part of it here in a little bit when it comes to the suspects.
Okay.
And why that might be. Going back to Shannan Gilbert, my question is, because this community, this gated community, from what I've read and what I've watched, was kind of known to be this kind of like little area of where they would have drug-fueled sex parties and weird stuff going on. It wasn't like
It was for the elite, right?
it was for the elite,
Very rich, wealthy
yeah.
people.
And it wasn't something they necessarily tried to hide. Like the police never went there. They didn't And so my question was, do you think that this was kind of the talk around amongst like escorts, like, oh man, like if you have to get called out to Oak, whatever it's called, and it's probably going to be crazy. There's going to be more than one person. And so maybe that's where she was thinking, oh my God, maybe the guy was getting kind of weird. And she was thinking, God, they're going to kill me. They're going to kill me because I know that this is a community where, these kind of weird parties happen. I don't know. When I first heard that, that's what I was thinking in my head.
Okay.
So
Carry on.
carrying on. Okay. So on December 10th, 2015, Suffolk County Police Commissioner, whoa, wait a second. Hang on 1 second, guys.
Yeah, Garrett's here reading these, and then as he gets done, he throws them on the floor. And then when he leaves, he doesn't pick them up, and he just leaves them here.
Yeah, I'm like, you guys got that right.
That's going to change. That's going to stop.
In the mansion, it will. Okay,
In the mansion, it will.
On December 10th, 2015, Suffolk County Police Commissioner Tim, I don't know if this is Sinai or Sinai, I think it's Sinai, announced that the FBI had officially joined the investigation. Hey, 4 years later. Yay. So, and that's important because 4 years later, the FBI finally decides, or not the FBI, the local law enforcement decided to finally the FBI is a part of this investigation. The day before, former police commissioner James Burke, who resigned in October, had been indicted for alleged police brutality and other issues. He was said to have blocked FBI involvement in the LISK case for years.
Right.
He's a douche. A spokesperson for the FBI confirmed their official involvement. The FBI had previously assisted in the search for the victims, but was never officially a part of the investigation. Why not? I mean, I know why, but like, what I'm saying? Like, to common sense, everyday people, like, if you were, wouldn't you be like, yes, please, FBI, please come help me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God, it's so weird. Okay.
Absolutely.
On September 12, 2017, Suffolk County prosecutor Robert, this is a name, Bianca Villa.
Say what?
Bianca, huh?
Bless you.
Gesundheit. From the county's DA office announced that John Bitrolf, a carpenter from Manorville, Long Island, who was convicted in May 2017 and sentenced in September in the homicides of two prostitutes in 1993 and 1994, was a suspect in at least one of the LISK murders. Bitrolf had been linked to the 1990s murders by DNA. The police made no comment as the LISK homicide investigation is still active. In June 2019, a proposal was made to use genetic genealogy to identify the unidentified victims and possibly the killer. On January 16, 2020, Suffolk County Commissioner Geraldine Hart released images of a belt found at the crime scene with the letters HM or WH, depending on which way the belt was looked at, embossed in black leather. The belt was found during the initial investigation near Ocean Parkway in Gogo Beach. Police believe the belt was handled by the perpetrator and did not belong to any of the victims. The police revealed few details regarding this piece of evidence and would not comment on exactly where the belt was found. It was also announced that new scientific evidence was being used in the investigation and that they had launched gilgonews.com, a website enabling the police to share news and receive tips regarding the investigation. Okay, and again, this is 8 or 9 years later.
Yep.
In May 2020, the identity of Jane Doe number 6 had been confirmed, but her name was not released to the public. On May 28, 2020, she was identified as Valerie Mack, who also went by the name of Melissa Taylor.
Is that the same Jane Doe you're just talking about?
Yeah,
Number 6?
yeah. And I believe she went missing like in 2000.
It's funny because it said her name was not released to the public, and I'm thinking, oh man! And then all of a sudden, she was identified.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, she was. Yeah, and she actually, I think she went missing in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty early on.
Yeah, look at this map.
It's insane, dude.
Yeah, how you would think somebody, around that time would see some guy pulled over and tossing a body out.
Right.
I mean, Human bones. I'm going to read these real quick. Unidentified skull. Amber Lynn Costello, Melissa Bartholomew, Maureen Barnes, Megan Waterman, Shannan Gilbert. Look, dude, she was close.
She was.
An unidentified child, which is heartbreaking. Unidentified remains. A skull, head, forearms, and Jessica Taylor. Now, there was a part right where he was actually, they found like over on the far right. You see a torso.
Right.
Let's see, a female torso. Torso of Jessica Taylor. Were these two separate females, Garrett?
I believe so, yep.
And then an unidentified female. So I wonder why he changed the MO a little bit.
Well, what's weird too is that one of the torsos was linked to some remains that were found in 1996 that just washed up.
Weird.
Yeah. So that's why when Ann earlier was like, this goes back to like maybe the mid 90s, it obviously does. Like it does go back to the mid 90s, which will call into question one of the suspects. The guy, I can't say his last name, Bitrolf, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's the one that was linked by DNA to those crimes of the two prostitutes.
That was interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah, and especially where he worked or his history.
Materville.
And his history.
Right. Yeah.
Was he the guy that, because again, like I said, I was so busy. I wish I could have done more research.
No, you're good. Yeah.
He worked at a place that had those type of bags.
That's a different guy. We'll talk about him.
That's the guy I'm talking about. That's interesting.
Yeah. So Bitrolf, we'll get into all the suspects here in a second.
I'll follow your lead.
I want to go ahead and talk about the victims just because I do think that that's really important. I think in every true crime episode we do, we're always thinking about the victims, their families, and the community, right?
Yep.
And I will tell you, I talked to my friend that's from Suffolk County, born and raised, lived there forever. He's in Atlanta now.
You know everybody, don't you?
Well, I went to school in New York, so
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But so I called him up, and he said he was actually, which is crazy. I talked to two people I told you from Long Island,
Right.
both of which were unfamiliar with the Long Island serial killer, but were extremely familiar with the James Burke case, which is the police officer that got in trouble and was leading the investigation, ended up getting in trouble for beating people, and
Well, I mean, even when I lived on the East Coast, when I lived in New Jersey, I got to admit, I don't remember seeing it on the news.
It's so weird.
And I was out there
bizarre.
during that time. In fact,
You were, yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, even when they started having the Atlantic City prostitutes showing up when I lived there, I didn't hear anything until I came back to Oklahoma.
Right. Which, I mean,
did it get a lot of coverage, or was it because it's prostitutes they just didn't care?
I think that's part of why this guy was going after these people. I think that happens a lot, though, right?
I think a lot of low income, and I hate to say that, but like they just don't like homicides or drug users. They just think it's hey, we got them off the street,
right? Yeah,
and
it's sad.
Maybe very much so, and even the same with escorts. They're still human beings, and I'm not going to judge their profession. I mean,
no, not at all. Not at all.
If you got a kid and you got no other way to make money, man, I get it.
Well, and that's why I felt like it was, and I did this kind of in the 12th hour here, where I wanted to print this out and kind of talk about the victims a little bit. And so,
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, of the 10 bodies or sets of remains found in late 2010s, the 4 discovered in December 2010 have been identified as missing prostitutes who all advertise their services on Craigslist.
All of them?
All 4 of them. It has been theorized by a former investigator of the case that the killer shopped for lookalike victims through Craigslist ads. Each had been strangled and her body wrapped in burlap sacks before being dumped on Gilgo Beach. All are believed to have been killed elsewhere.
Wow.
So, identified. Maureen Bernard Barnes, 25, of Norwich, Connecticut, was an escort who advertised her services online. Maureen, who was 4 feet 11 inches tall and 105 pounds, was last seen July 9, 2007, saying she planned to spend the day in New York City. She was never seen again. Maureen, a struggling mother, worked as a paid escort via Craigslist to pay a mortgage on her house. She had been out of the sex industry for 7 months, but she returned to work in order to pay her bills after receiving an eviction notice. Her body was found in December 2010, shortly after her disappearance. A friend of Maureen, Sarah Carnes, received a call from a man on an unfamiliar number. The man claimed he had just seen Maureen and that she was alive and staying at a quote-unquote whorehouse in Queens. He refused to identify himself and could not tell Carnes the location of the house. He told Carnes he would call back, and he never did. And Carnes said that he didn't have like any kind of recognizable accent from Boston and New York or anything like that.
Okay.
Have you ever talked to somebody from Long Island? Call it
probably.
Strong Island.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in,
Their accents are very recognizable.
is it?
But I guess that if you're from that area, like, it's like us, like we don't recognize each other's accents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I know the Manhattan accent, the Bronx, Queens,
Yep.
those accents, but I can't say I've met someone from Long Island.
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
so
even when
the
I was
accent's very, very strong.
right, because I used to go to New York when I lived in New Jersey.
Of course,
and
you got to.
got to. I mean, the bus ride, man, was like $30.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, to the Port Authority.
Right. Yeah.
And man, you go to Manhattan. It was great. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I went to Queens and I went to Bronx. And,
Right. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
And those guys are like
Yeah.
real thick
Yeah.
accents. And then of course New Jersey, I know that accent like that.
Right.
But what's the Long Island? Can you do it?
Well, Strong Island.
Strong
Yeah, I'm
Island.
from Strong Island, and it's just very, it's kind of rough a little bit. But I love those guys. They're always really funny. I actually got to spend a lot of time on Long Island because my friend that I talked to, his parents kind of took care of me. Had my 18th birthday party out there, and so when I was talking to him about this, he's like, "That would be the place on Long Island where you would dump bodies." That's exactly what he said to me. He wasn't surprised at all.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, it may not. Is it 65? Is that I'm trying to think of the highway that runs right
I don't know.
down there. I think it's 65. I'm not sure. I could be
Right.
wrong. But yeah, I mean, if
He
it's
said
not,
heavy brush and
yeah, is it well traveled though? I mean, maybe I'm sure he was dumping them at 2 or 3 in the morning or something.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Well, we'll get into that in a little bit because it may have been somebody that knew the police routines. And
could
kind
be
of,
because I was going to say, I mean,
spent some time in the area, kind of knew when.
because there's traffic 24 hours in New York.
Yeah. Well, Long Island gets a little bit, as you move out of the city, it kind of, turns into more suburbs and stuff like that.
Right.
And so that's why it's so damn expensive to live out there. Okay, so this one's interesting. Melissa Barthélemy, 24 of Erie County, New York. She went missing July 10th, 2009. So this first one went missing 2011. Now we're at 2009. I'm sorry, 2007. Now we're at 2009. She had been living in the Bronx and working as an escort through Craigslist. Of course. On the night she went missing, she met with a client, deposited $900 into her bank account, and
how much?
$900.
Okay.
And then attempted to call an old boyfriend, but did not get through. Beginning 1 week later and lasting for 5 weeks, her teenage sister Amanda received a series of vulgar, mocking, and insulting calls from a man who may have been the killer using Melissa's phone. The caller asked if Amanda was, and I hate to say this, was a whore like her sister. The calls became increasingly more disturbing and eventually culminating in the caller telling Amanda that Melissa was dead and that he was going to watch her rot. Police traced some of the calls to Madison Square Garden, Midtown Manhattan, and Massapequa, but were unable to determine who was making the calls. Melissa's mother noted that there were a lot of calls to Maynardville from Melissa's phone around the time of her disappearance.
That's going to be interesting later, isn't it?
It will be. In September 2017, John Bitrolf, a carpenter from the town convicted of 2 other murders, was named as a suspect in the LISK cases. So he was from Maynardville.
Okay.
So that's interesting. Okay. Megan Waterman, 22, of South Portland, Maine, went missing June 6, 2010. So we have 2007, 2009, now 2010. After placing advertisements on Craigslist as an escort.
Back pages.
The day before, she had told her 20-year-old boyfriend she was going out and would call him after. At the time of her disappearance, she was staying at a motel in Hauppauge, New York, 15 miles northeast of Gilgo Beach. Her body was recovered in December 2010. Okay, Amber Lynch Costello, 27, of North Babylon, New York, a town 10 miles north of Gilgo Beach, was a prostitute and heroin user who went missing on December 2nd, 2010. That night, she reportedly went to meet a stranger who had called her several times and offered $1,500 for her services. Those were all in 2010. So, all prostitutes, all on Craigslist.
Yeah. Let me say something real quick.
Yep, go for it.
My wife, Pam, who's usually here, she's a nurse, and they put her up in a hotel because nurses can't take off even if there's 15 inches of snow. So she's in the chat room from her hotel room. So if you have questions,
Absolutely.
I don't know what to tell you. Because,
yeah.
we tried to get Pam. We thought, okay, well, we'll set you up on the Bluetooth telephone through the system. But of course she can't do that and look at that at the same time, and it was just going to be too difficult. So anyway, so if we're not answering your questions, I apologize. So that's,
definitely leave them in the comments too, because we do a pretty good job of getting back to people that leave comments.
Yep. Leave them in the comments and we'll try to answer those. And if we don't know, we'll look it up.
Absolutely. Hey, and so, quite a few, I mean, if I were to keep reading through all these victims, we would be here for a long period of time. But I just kind of wanted to give you a generalized idea of the victims and who they were, kind of an age range too.
Yep.
So a lot of them between 20, 27 years old. They were all prostitutes. They were all on Craigslist.
What about the same color hair or anything like that?
No, not really. So I kind of disagree with the idea that, because what about the Asian guy, the Asian male, right?
Yeah,
that kind of throws a wrench in that idea.
He was tranny.
Well, he was dressed in women's clothing.
He was dressed in women's clothes.
Yeah.
So,
and I guess there's no way to determine.
which kind of
like if he was already wearing those, I'm sure he was.
Oh, absolutely.
Like obviously
he was picked
but
up.
for us, there's no way of.
Yeah, I kind of. I know people say, well, just usually it's going to be women, but I kind of have an idea of why he picked up a guy dressed like that.
Why is that?
A lot of serial killers, especially the ones who are killing prostitutes, they have this moral compass like, I'm doing the right thing.
Right.
I'm cleaning up the streets. So whether it's a girl or if he sees a guy dressed up like
doesn't matter.
He may be disgusted going, oh my God.
Yeah.
And think, well, I need to take him off the streets as well.
Right.
A lot of those guys are so sick that they think that they're doing society a justice.
Right.
By, I'm getting rid of all this crap. I mean,
right.
A lot of the serial killers who killed prostitutes, I think, was Gary Ridgway one of those guys, I think.
I can't remember.
But yeah, a lot of them would say, well, I'm cleaning up the streets. I'm doing it,
Right.
But I mean, a lot of it too it's probably
justification.
It's some justification, and the fact that no one's looking for these girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think
it takes a lot longer to find a prostitute's body than it is, say, a debutante from Manhattan.
Right.
They would have been on that case like that.
Yep. Yeah.
But if you have, when you have street people that, unfortunately,
it's very sad.
Yeah, law enforcement don't care. I think, even probably some of them are like, hey, good riddance,
Yeah, they'll be back.
Yeah,
they'll just wait for them to come back.
Or and that's another good point too. Just the fact that they go from city to city. Some of them. So if they disappear, it doesn't mean that they're murdered or dead.
And we know how important those first 48 hours are.
Very.
So justification, the fact that it would minimize this person being caught because they are prostitutes, right? There was another reason I can't remember now. But for a reason why a serial killer would pick these people. Damn, I can't remember now. But no, the
started selling me.
Yeah, well, the justification part is here's why. It's because you think these people, again, we're not serial killers. You're not a serial killer that I know of.
No.
And that's kind of the weird thing about serial killers, though. Sometimes they have families and normal jobs.
They do.
But do you think it's a battle at times? Have you heard
for them?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
To fight the urge.
Yeah. There's Weepy Voice Killer.
Yeah.
He would say, "Oh my God!" He would.
Right. Yeah.
And he had this weepy kind of high pitched voice, and he's like, "Someone someone's got to stop me, or I'm gonna
Right.
keep going.
Yeah.
So they're asking for help. I mean, there's been more than one or two serial killers who it's a demon they fight with. They don't necessarily. They don't want to kill. They don't want to do it.
There's an urge,
but they can't control themselves.
They can't control the urge. So my point though is like if you pick somebody that's minimalized in society here, and you can convince yourself in your head that the world would be a better place without them, then the justification just becomes, as a part of the means. Like that allows this person to continue to kill.
And that's a different type of serial killer.
Right, it is.
Than like say someone who's just
Zodiac.
That's another one. He actually sent Melvin Belli letters about, I don't want to do this and I need help. I need someone to help me.
Do you think those were those Zodiac letters?
Yeah, because the reason, I think, we know when Melvin Belli, getting off the case
No,
here,
it's fine. No, you're fine.
but we know when he was on the show that the guy who called in wasn't so, but he started sending letters to him, and he sent him a patch of Paul Stein's shirt as well.
Right. Oh,
he got one of those as well. So the letters were correct, but he wrote letters about, and he actually, they said his letters were like, he just bragged about how great a person Melvin Belli was. He was and he really looked up to him.
Wow, like me with Dr. Phil.
Yeah, like you and Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
So, so I mean, so what I'm saying is it's different. Like some guys, they'll see a girl, they'll target a girl, like BTK, for instance. He wasn't killing prostitutes. He was just killing random people.
Right.
Those people have no soul left whatsoever. Not that I'm saying that because they're killing prostitutes, but it's a different motive. They think in their heart they're doing the right thing.
Right.
The people who are crying out for help sometimes are those people who pick random people. Like I said, I think his name was Paul something, the weepy guy.
Yep.
Zodiac asked for help. I mean, there's a bunch of them.
See, and I think that this guy, though, like, I don't think that he was necessarily like justifying it or anything, because he also got a kick out of calling these people and getting right.
Yeah.
So like when he called the little sister Amanda. Have you read anything about that? That was terrible, dude.
Yeah, he talked
Just
about
tormenting
how he tortured her sister. That was horrible. So then it's kind of now we're kind of looking at a different mindset.
Right.
Like you said, not necessarily that he has this thing where he doesn't want, I don't want to do that, or
right.
Just killing prostitutes. He's getting off on it.
Right. And he's picking people that he knows he can get away with doing it.
Right. And so it's an easy target for them.
People, so he's a straight up sicko.
Straight up sicko. Yeah.
I mean, anybody
who kills is straight up sicko.
Yeah.
But he is. He's, and you're probably right about that. Like he may be doing it just for the opportunity of, I can kill this person, I can hide their body. They're not going to look for them. If they find it, it's going to be by accident, which these were.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think you're absolutely right on that. But there are some people who do have that moral compass that they do. They think they're cleaning up the streets. Right. Where I think you're correct.
Well, and man, the way that this guy would do it too, where it sounds like what some of the things we're reading, there were some cases where the escort would leave the phone behind, but it sounds like also that sometimes the escorts were taking their phones. Like you were bringing up earlier, you would want to have your phone, obviously. Yeah. I know back when you were escorting, you all probably always had your phone. Jersey City, John Lennon. Yeah, right. So, but maybe some of these people were hiding their phones and he was coming across it, and maybe it just enraged him and pissed him off. So he's like, that's why he's, I'm going to find sister. Oh, okay. And torment them.
How risky is that though? I mean, as far as like,
he would always keep it under 3 minutes.
Yeah, but
Madison Square Garden, dude. He's calling from Madison Square Garden.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing
in
is
Midtown.
When he's calling, he's going to get out of the area. Of course, I mean they can call. I mean the law enforcement can get those records pretty quick and find out what cell tower that pinged off of.
Well, and you probably remember going to New York like at post 9/11. Dude, freaking cops everywhere. Like literally because people were like, "Oh, dude, you walk through Queens and the Bronx." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, there's literally like there's 15 cops on every street."
When I was in Manhattan, or even like when I went to Times Square and stuff, they had, believe it or not, a policeman at every stoplight. And not only that, is when the light turned green, he would get out there and start doing this. Mm-hmm. So there was a policeman on every block.
The presence is unbelievable. So
yeah, it's not like it used to be.
Again, though, pointing back to the fact that this person knew what they were doing. Otherwise, we would have got them by now.
Yeah.
Right? Keeping the calls short. Making the calls from places like did you ever go to Madison Square Garden? Penn Station?
I think so.
Dude, I took my parents there. Their first experience.
Yeah.
We get off the train and we get into Penn Station.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, dude, I've never seen anything like this. The amount of people that are just in and out and the rush of it. And so for me, the LISK, the Long Island serial killer, had some idea. He was very well planned out. I mean, he's putting the bodies in burlap sacks as well.
Right. And I mean, the population there, and then plus, like, I mean, it's not like walking down say with a storefront and there's a sidewalk there.
Right.
I mean, there's 150, 200 people just walking back and forth.
Right, yeah.
I mean, you could easily just step aside, make a phone call.
Yeah,
no one knows.
Bounce out. Easy.
Right. I mean, you couldn't even ask a witness, hey, did you see someone here during this time?
Right.
Everybody's moving.
Well, and the other thing too, Larry and I were talking about during the Elisa Lamb case. She went to that hole in the wall kind of saloon type place. We were talking about a place we used to go to called the Tempest, which is in Hell's Kitchen, which is right. So here's Penn Station, Madison Square Garden. Hell's Kitchen is right behind there.
Yep.
And then it gets real shady, dude. Like you could literally disappear out of Madison Square Garden like that. You could just, and so interesting that he would call back. He would take those risks, but also he's minimizing risk. He would pick them up. That's why I'm able to detach the Shannan Gilbert case from the other 10 to 11 to 16, because I think that they're adding, when it gets up to the 16 body count, they're adding in the Atlantic City crimes as well.
Right.
So yeah, because he would pick them up, and then he would have them, me and you driving. You're the escort, of course, the killer, because he strangled all of them as well. So, and they said that they weren't killed in those locations, obviously. So to me, it just means that somebody's well planned out. He knows what they're doing, and everything like that. But a sicko nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, it's just if they just could have started working on this case a lot sooner
and the right way,
then they could have warned the escorts, hey, if some guy calls and says, don't bring your phone,
and I'm going to pay you $900.
Yeah, I'm going to pay $1,500 or whatever, don't get in the car.
Right.
But I still, man, that's just, to me, those girls are streetwise. And,
they are.
And so it's like,
sense danger and
guess the lure of money, man. But,
well, so that was the.
But what, I mean, wouldn't you ask, like, well, how come I can't bring my phone? What I mean?
But do you think that some of these girls were like, because how many people do you think he tried to get? You know what I mean? There could have been a lot more victims. But the lure of money, like you said. I mean, these were some girls that like they're trying to get out of bad situations, or they're trying not to get evicted from their house. Like you said, maybe they have kids or people that they're making money for.
They got bills to pay.
They got bills to pay, and so I would be curious if there were any other escorts that I'm sure there had to be, right?
Oh yeah. You would think.
Yeah. You don't think he was like 10 for 10?
No, and I'm sure they probably questioned other prostitutes to ask if they got phone calls similar to that and that they didn't go. I mean, it's not going to help them at all.
Right.
But Garrett, what about, okay, if he calls them and says, don't bring your phone, wouldn't his phone number, did he have a burner phone or something?
Had to.
Or was he calling them from a phone booth?
See, and this is going back to...
I mean, certainly they looked at the girl's phone that they left back.
Well, yeah.
And looked at the phone number and...
Right. Tracked it back. Well, and that's how they're able to say that the one victim made a lot of phone calls to Manorville leading up to her death.
Okay.
But I don't know, like, why can't you take it one step further, and actually find out where this phone was? Is there video that's around the phone? Like,
we're too busy.
Yeah, too busy. Forget
too
about
busy.
it.
Forget about it.
But no, this ties into, okay, let's talk about really quick. We'll circle back around, but Missy Beavers was on LinkedIn getting weird messages from some guy on LinkedIn, right?
Yep.
The Delphi case, there's talk that maybe Abby and Libby were in communications with the catfish. Why couldn't they tie it back in?
Right.
In this case, dude, Craigslist.
Yeah, I mean, I would, like I said, I know I'm repeating myself, but the phone number's got to be on there. So he was either calling from payphones, which, they got rid of most of all the payphones, though.
Yeah, like, or burner phones.
Or he's calling from burner phones, because those you can actually register and not give your real name. And,
right.
That's why drug dealers use them. They can just toss them.
Right. Well, and that's what my FBI guy was saying. Like, you would be surprised how difficult it is actually once you start going down the rabbit hole with social media and cell phones like that.
Yeah.
The burner phones and everything like that. So, all right. You ready to talk about these suspects?
Yes, that's always my favorite part of our show is suspects. I love to discuss that.
So I went kind of from like least likely to most likely.
Okay.
In the way I was done it. So at first we'll talk about Joseph Brewer. We've got to mention Brewer simply because he was the last one to see Shannan Gilbert alive.
Right.
Joseph Brewer is an Oak Beach resident, was one of the last people known to have seen Shannan alive. He hired her as an escort from Craigslist on the night of her disappearance. Brewer said that shortly after Gilbert arrived at his residence, she began acting erratically and fled into the night. Gilbert was reportedly seen running through Oak Beach, pounding on the doors of homes in Brewer's neighborhood. Around this time, Gilbert called 911 saying that they were trying to kill her. However, police did not find any evidence of wrongdoing, and Brewer was quickly cleared as a suspect. Definitely do not think he was the guy.
I don't either. I truly think she'd either, I know she didn't have a history of taking street drugs, but it almost, like, again, going back to Lisa Lamb, it almost sounds like a psychotic episode.
It does.
Because if I was getting ready to kill this girl, let's say even I had a guy in my house, I wouldn't bring the driver in my house.
Right. Yeah.
At the worst case scenario, I would just throw her out the door and
Right.
shut the door and be
Get
done
out
with
of
it.
here. Right.
Right, because you don't want to get caught. So it's almost like she was hallucinating and maybe seeing
Paranoid.
someone. Right.
I agree.
Now, okay.
Good. You're going to say no.
Oh, well, I think it's going to lead you into the next thing. Or not. No, it's not going to lead you to the next thing, so I'll bring it up later.
Okay. Here's the one that everybody loves. And again, we're going from least credible to most credible. Next on our hit list, no pun intended, Dr. Peter Hackett, the guy who may or may have not faked his heart attack. 2 days after Gilbert's disappearance, Dr. Peter Hackett, an Oak Beach resident and neighbor of Brewer, called the woman's mother, Mary Gilbert. She later recounted that he said he was taking care of Gilbert and that he ran a home for wayward girls. 3 days later, he called the mother again, denying that he had any contact with her daughter and that he even called Mary Gilbert. Investigators later confirmed through phone records that Hackett called Mary twice following the disappearance, which is obviously very strange.
Very much.
The marshy area where Gilbert's remains were found was also noted as near Hackett's backyard. Gilbert's family filed a wrongful death suit against Hackett in November 2012, claiming that he took Gilbert into his home that morning and administered drugs to her, facilitating her death. Later, police revealed that Hackett had a history of inserting himself into or exaggerating his role in certain major events, which is also bizarre.
Yeah.
Police later ruled out Hackett as a suspect in the deaths of Gilbert and the LISK victims.
Right.
Mr. Hackett.
He's interesting for sure.
How did he get her number?
Yeah, that's a good question. And the fact that why did he lie about calling her?
It's so strange.
And then he said, I run a
home for wayward girls.
And some people translated that as the dumping site is what he called the home for wayward girls.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. That's
interesting.
Yeah. But he took back that he said that. He did later admit, though, that he did call her, right?
He did. He had to.
And I don't understand why the police, didn't look a little harder into that.
Right.
He lied about calling her. Her body is basically in his backyard.
Yep.
Which also her body is in the proximity of all the other victims.
Right. And here's the thing about Hackett, though, is that did you see the video of when they're searching for Shannan Gilbert's body? They're like in these. It's kind of like a tank looking truck. It has like these wheels that and that way they're able to stay above the marsh.
Able to go through the marsh. And
right.
It almost looked like a tank with the tracks. Not a tank, but
yeah.
But the same thing,
like a bulldozer slide. Yeah.
Right, to get through there.
Right, and so for me, the reason why he's not a credible suspect is just I think he's batshit crazy. I think he likes to, like they said, insert himself into big events. He's got something messed up in his brain, obviously, for calling the victim's mother like a weirdo. And yeah, he did say all the wrong things.
Yeah.
But
he said he treated her. too.
Right. He said he
Right?
treated her. But where she was located in proximity to his house, I don't see him being able to do that alone. Like put her there.
Yeah.
And it does seem like because her clothes were taken off,
Right.
which is odd, right? But Lisa Lamb,
Yeah, I know that's weird.
clothes are off, right?
Yeah.
Psychotic break. And also, if you're going through that kind of terrain, you probably would, like if you're starting to get stuck, you would start probably ditching things.
But how far away was that
I think
from
500,
the John's house?
maybe. From the John's house?
Yeah.
Oh, Peter Hackett's house? Or
No.
the
Where she
yeah, I don't know. We
where
would have
she
to.
was originally
That's a good question.
running because, I mean, what if it was 10 someone drove her? You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I
Um,
think it was only about 500 meters, like behind Hackett's, and then the John's at the end because she starts running down this way, knocking. She actually gets an elderly man. He comes out, stops Pac's car, which now they're thinking that kind of sucks because if Pac would have continued, he may have actually
Yeah.
caught her. But he, elderly man, was just trying to do the right thing.
Well, he said that she came in the house. He said, "I'll call the police," and said, "Just sit down and relax." And she bolted out the door.
Sees the headlights.
Yeah.
I think that's what triggered the elderly guy refers to the headlights coming out. And so as he's coming out and she's running, he sees the headlights, runs out there, stops the car, which brave on his part,
Yeah.
right? And then she ends up probably at Hackett's place.
Yeah, that's possible. And then him being a doctor, if she was hysterical, maybe he did bring her in and gave her a sedative,
Right.
which doesn't mean he's the killer.
Right.
It's totally unethical as a doctor to do.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying,
you might
I'm
do
going to
that.
call the police and I'm going to call an ambulance.
But if she's that out of whack and going wild, you know what I'm saying? To the point where like she's running
did
from
he
the
call the police?
Hackett?
Yeah.
No, the elderly man
That's
did.
okay. Sorry, but that's weird.
It's so strange.
Even if I'm a physician, someone comes to my door and they're banging on it, and this girl's distraught.
Right.
I'm calling 911 right off the bat.
But I don't think that Hackett ever admits to seeing her that night. I think he.
Well, was this okay? But let's look at it too. He had to known that they found a lot of those bodies were close to his home, right?
Right.
So maybe he's like, I'm not wanting to get involved in this because I'm definitely didn't do these murders. So if I admit to that she came to my house, we did this, blah blah blah, then I'm going to be automatically a suspect of something I didn't do. You know what I'm saying?
Possibly.
So he
should have thought about that when he called Mary.
yeah.
What an idiot.
Yeah, that was stupid. It doesn't make him a serial killer.
Well, and then to deny it, because the thing is that if you did
Because probably if you said, yeah, I did, I said that, blah, 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 I know automatically now I'm a suspect in, 10 capital murders?
Right, yeah.
And that would be scary. I mean,
Definitely.
yeah, unethically, he did some bad unethical things for sure.
I mean, surely he's not still practicing, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, but do you see what I'm saying though? It's
Yeah,
like
definitely.
just because I don't want to, I could see him saying, I don't want to get involved with this, so I'm just
Right.
I'm gonna lie that I even called because now the police are gonna be coming to my house, and I'm a physician. I don't need that out in the public because my career will be ruined.
Well, and he was known for like being the Oak Ridge or Oak Beach neighborhood like go-to doctor. Like if
Yeah.
somebody got injured, everybody went and saw Dr. Hackett.
Yeah,
And so I think that maybe inflated his.
and maybe even are you saying like the other houses say along that area, that are on the
Right.
beach, they cut a finger. Hey, let's go see
Dr.
Let's
Hackett.
go see
yeah,
Peter.
Yeah. Petey boy.
Yeah, let Peter take care of this, and he, some doctors would be friendly enough to treat him there at the house.
Yeah, definitely.
that stuff.
Well, and this community is known for being, I call it this community, this neighborhood is known for being very, I don't know if the word exclusive or inclusive would be proper. They didn't like people coming into
Yeah.
their neighborhood and like asking questions.
Well,
and-
there's video of even the news reporters out there, and the guys are like, "We don't, you
just
guys
go
get
away.
out of here,
Yeah.
just
we don't
go
want this
away."
attention. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't want that. They're they're rich and elite. They're snobby. We don't want your kind in
Well,
my,
and they're doing things that are documented now, like having drug-fueled sex parties and
right.
things that their peers, their work peers, probably wouldn't approve of.
Yeah.
Right. And then you kind of get in the situation where all of a sudden one of the escorts goes missing. She gets away. Right. And now you're under all this attention, and you happen to be Peter Hackett, somebody that has an inflated view of their own self-worth and decides that he's going to call the mother of this person like a freaking idiot. And it snowballs into this thing. But thank God that all this did happen, though, I think, because then they started looking for Shannan.
Right.
And they found out, all these other missing people. So,
yeah. So, I mean, do you like him as a suspect?
I don't.
Okay.
I did initially, but as I looked into it more, and then I saw some videos with him, and I saw where the body was, I just thought he's just some creepy doctor that wanted some attention and got it.
Yeah.
In that first phone call, I don't think he used his name.
Why wouldn't he though?
I know. Well, that's the question. Is it
If I'm treating your daughter and I want to help your daughter,
right?
I'd say I'm Dr. Whoever, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I have your daughter here. Just want you to know she's okay. She's safe.
Right. Well, and that does kind of this was the point I was going to make earlier about Hackett, is the fact that he does call, it does move him more into that credible LISK suspect list, right? Because when I say LISK, I'm not saying list. I'm saying Long Island serial killer.
Right, LISK.
Yeah. So it kind of moves him into a more credible suspect simply because he did make that phone call.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Which the Long Island serial killer was doing, right?
Yeah, and there's so many coincidences of,
God, dude.
she's in the backyard, and then just, a few 100 yards or maybe less than that.
Right.
All these girls are
Oh my gosh, dude.
buried out there.
I know.
But here's the deal. Here's another thing that makes me think it's not him. If I was a serial killer, I wouldn't be dumping bodies near my house.
True.
Nowhere near my house.
True.
Because you're going to be thought of as a suspect. And
Definitely.
so
Especially if you're making phone calls.
I'm not saying he was a great moral kind of guy or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Was he at these sex parties? Because
I don't know.
I thought I read that he was at one of them.
I'm not.
Possibly.
I wouldn't be surprised, man.
But yeah,
I'll speculate because he's an idiot.
yeah. And we were going to mention, because I know Mona wanted us to show the film of him having a fake heart attack, which is hilarious.
Answering questions.
And yeah, and Mona, I think you heard at the beginning of the show, we had a whole lot of technical problems, and so I'm not able to do that, but you guys can find it on YouTube. Although if you put a search in for Dr. Peter Hackett having a heart attack, it doesn't show up. You almost have to watch any of the Long Island serial killer documentaries and just kind of fast forward through it. Basically, it's a television news reporter. He's coming out of his office. They start questioning him about, hey, you're the last one to see Sarah or Shannan Gilbert. And he says, no, and he goes, and they go, what about the other girls? And he grabs his heart, and the guy's like, well, what's wrong? And he goes, it's my defibrillator. So he falls to his knees, acting like he's having this heart attack, and
refuses help from people.
Yeah, and even the reporter was like, well, I'm going to call 911. We need, in case He goes, no, I'll just refuse. And then there's some guy with a phone next to him, and he goes, take a picture of these clowns. They caused me to have a heart attack or something. And he gets in his car and he leaves. But yeah, I don't like him for it. I just don't think I think the bodies are too close to his house. I think it's a possibility Shannan had a psychotic episode. Not, the thing I need to find out though is how far was that John's house to his house? I mean, and forgive me because I didn't look real hard into that, but if it's like, did she get a ride and got dropped out? I would think she wouldn't be getting in anybody's car right now because she's afraid she's in a paranoid state right now. Right. So, is Dr. Hackett's house a mile away? Is it 20 miles away? Because
it's not. Yeah.
Because it's odd.
But here's the thing:
I will say it's odd she ended up in that area.
Yeah, but what their argument is that the freeway is right there, the highway that you're talking about, and so from Hackett's house, if she had just cut through and gone behind his house, right, is that would be the next source of light that she would see, would be moving cars, and so she would want to go towards the highway for safety.
Yeah.
Therefore,
And they didn't have a cause of death with her, right?
drowning
Okay.
is
So
what they said. But hey, you know how her mother.
what are the odds of, let's say she wasn't
Bizarre.
a victim of the long LISK,
I know.
as you say,
Yeah.
and she ends up in the same damn area these
It's almost
other girls.
the coincidence is almost hard to fathom. It's almost it almost falls into that paranormal category though, where like she was brought there for a reason almost. I think I know it's gonna sound weird to say
No, I see what you're saying. I mean, like,
because what are the odds, dude? Like of that
Right.
entire island that
Without-
she ends up right there.
right, and without her disappearance, these bodies wouldn't have been found.
True. Yeah. I
So-
don't think. Well, even the guy I talked to was like, he's like, yeah, that's definitely where people dump some bodies. Like if you had a body, you'd take it over there.
Yeah.
So it must not be like it must be like just kind of overgrown and weird, right?
Right.
Like not hikers going or anything like that. So
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next suspect.
okay.
So we're saying Dr.
Hackett
Hackett is out.
I do have one more thing about. Oh, hey, did you know how Shannan? Because you know Mary Gilbert became like an activist and that movie on Netflix, Gone Girls, that's about her
Right.
essentially. You know that she passed away,
You know, she's murdered by one of her daughters.
who had a schizophrenic break.
Oh.
So that's just an
And we
interesting
know
tidbit,
the law that's hereditary.
right?
So,
So I just wanted to mention that because I think that goes into declassifying Hackett as the killer and maybe going more towards your series of events that leads me to believe that, you know, that's actually probably that's the most likely circumstance or situation that could have possibly happened.
yeah. Yeah. How strange is that, man?
Yeah, but the Lisa Lamb case though, man.
I know, but I mean, it's just the daughter ends up dying. The youngest daughter
Right.
kills her.
So sad, dude.
And
Right.
but that, you know what, that sheds a lot when you said she had a psychotic episode,
Right.
schizophrenia
Right.
episode. So
And the voices were telling her that she had to kill something.
so Shannon, you know, and that's another thing we don't know what. God, if Pam was here, we could the pharmaceutical. I wonder if we could find out what if she was on any pharmaceuticals for
Right.
that kind of, you know, for schizophrenia or bipolar 1, because bipolar 1's the worst one.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say at this point, I'm excluding her from Long Island serial
I am
killer.
too. No, I am too. I would be interested to if anybody in the chat knows more about what the medical examiner said about her cause of death, because
Wasn't she decomposed?
yeah, but I feel like the bone where you're strangled right there, that bone right there
Hyoid.
was broken.
Oh,
But I don't want to like say that as a fact. I feel because you know how it is, Keith. Like when we're doing this stuff, dude, we're going through information. Like we're listening to things while we drive to work. I'm like
Yeah.
changing diapers with my headphones in.
right.
You know, I'm like, God damn, that smells bad. Like, but, wait, did they say? But I do believe that like that hyoid bone was broken, which
well, that
would
be
make it different,
well,
right?
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, I'm gonna. In fact, when we get off of here, I'm gonna look that
Yeah,
up.
because she was also found on her back. Which, if you
That's
drowned,
odd. Yeah, you're not on your back.
right? But wasn't Lisa Lamb found on her back?
Yeah, she was laying on her back, but she was in really deep water too.
She
But-
was, yeah.
But I mean, they say she probably was like that, and from the water level that was going in and out of that,
Oh, got you. Okay.
that it moved the body, and she turned
Right. Well,
over on her back.
you know, I had this situation recently. You know, Kennedy is like loves animals so
Yep.
much, and there was a really pretty dog that had been killed on the side of the road. And what I noticed was every night when I would pass by, it was getting pulled further and further into the woods by something.
No,
And it was
yeah.
like coyotes or something, right?
Coyotes.
Yeah, coyotes. And so, you know, there could be a reason why Shannan Gilbert's body was found on the back. I'm not gonna.
Now the hyoid bone,
If that's true, that
that
kind of-
changes the
yeah.
ballpark or the ball
It
game
does.
right
It
there.
does.
So that makes me second guess.
Hey, just look up their family lawyer, because he's very active still to this day and trying to solve
Well,
this.
and I'm sure autopsy reports somewhere on the internet.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, if that bone was broken, then and she's found on her back.
With their clothes off.
She wasn't in. How deep was the water?
I don't know.
'Cause
Because it's marsh.
Well, I heard them say it wasn't deep at all.
Right, I know.
That it was just maybe a few inches,
Right.
and that certainly isn't going to flip a body over for one.
No, yeah.
And okay, I'm not sure now. So
Okay, but
we'll look that up
yeah,
later.
Yeah, we'll cross check that.
Yep.
Okay, here's a guy that's pretty credible. Okay,
Ann says we need Pam's facts.
Oh, Pam, stop
We
it.
need Pam's facts on
Stop
pharmaceuticals.
it.
On pharmaceuticals.
Hey, this is kind of weird in here not having Pam on. Honestly,
It is weird.
Does it feel a little bit more cold, or is that just because it's?
I miss her. I haven't. She went to the hotel like Sunday night.
Do you think she
I'm not-
misses? Do you think she's just enjoying the hotel though?
She probably is. I
Just
mean,
channel surfing. That's what I would
come
do.
in. I mean, you got a maid cleaning your room, so every night you're coming home to a clean room, no kids. Yeah.
First thing I'm gonna do when I'm rich,
What?
hire somebody to clean my house all the time. Okay, hey, so John Bitrolf. Okay, I also I personally didn't think when I wrote this that Bitrolf is LISK, but there are some very strange connections.
Okay.
On September 12, 2017, Suffolk County prosecutor Robert Biancavilla said that John Bitrolf, a Suffolk County resident convicted of murdering 2 prostitutes and suspected in the murder of a third, was a suspect in at least one of the LISK murders. Biancavilla stated that Bitrolf was likely responsible for the deaths of other women, and that there were similarities between the Gilgo Beach crime scenes and Bitrolf's known murders, for which he was convicted in 2017 and sentenced in September to 50 years, I believe. Bitrolf was arrested in 2014, linked by DNA found on 2 prostitute homicide victims, Rita Tangretti and Colleen McNamee. Those bodies were found in 1993 and 94, respectively. The match had been made through DNA submitted by his brother, who was convicted in 2013 in an unrelated case. Bitrolf was convicted in May 2017 of these murders, and in September sentenced to consecutive terms of 25 years for each murder.
Wow.
The Suffolk County Police did not comment on the prosecutor's statement due to the active homicide investigation of the LISK murders. Bitrolf's attorney rejected the prosecutor's assertion. A married carpenter, Bitrolf had lived in Maynardville, 3 miles from where the torsos of LISK victims Jessica Taylor and Valerie Mack were recovered. Biancavilla said that Bitrolf was a hunter who was said to enjoy killing of animals. The grown daughter of Rita Tangretti, one of Bitrolf's known victims, was reported to be best friends with Melissa Bartholomew, one of the Gilgo Beach victims. But Bartholomew's mother said that her daughter Melissa had a lot of calls to Maynardville from her phone before her death.
Okay. And when was his arrest?
2014?
Okay. And the bodies were found in 2010.
Yep.
And they were linked through DNA, right?
Right.
So
No. So
do we know if there's any DNA on the LISK bodies, or were they so deep? Well, no, they can get it from the bones.
Right.
But
right.
of course, his
His
DNA,
DNA,
yeah,
right,
blah.
Yeah, but there were, burlap sacks.
The burlap sacks.
Yeah, there were,
See,
now they
that'd be
have this
good for the,
belt.
that'd be good for the MVAC machine.
Right. Yeah,
'Cause
definitely.
He would have handled those.
Right, definitely. But also, man, being in those but you saw the one with the rock, with the MVAC, the guy like grabbed the
Yeah.
rock. But that also hadn't been sitting outside for 10 years.
Yeah, but again, she said they had cases older than 50 years old. I
That's
mean,
insane. But I mean, sitting outside, because some of these bodies had been like the
if you're dragging this bag, though, I mean, that's a lot of resistance on the
Yeah, true.
hand. That'd be
Yeah.
a lot of skin cells. I think it'd be possible. I mean,
right. It does get mighty cold up there, though. He probably had some gloves on.
Right. Yeah. So what I
Guarantee
was getting at is basically, if the DNA, if there were DNA on these girls, that they would have got a hit on this John Bitrolf.
Right.
So,
But MO is a lot similar, right?
Yeah.
It's very similar with the way he killed in 93, 94, those women. The fact that Maynardville is where he's at, okay, and I cannot say that last name, Bartholomew's phone was very active in Maynardville. So it ties, into that location. 2 of the bodies were found just miles away. Let's see here. 3 miles from where the torsos of LISK victims. So Bitrolf lived in Maynardville, which is 3 miles from where the torsos of LISK victims Jessica Taylor and Valerie Mack were recovered. So that's interesting. So that's two. That's two LISK.
That's kind of interesting there.
Well, here's what's interesting is that's two LISK victims, and then a third LISK victim, Bartholomew's mother, said that her phone was calling some number in Maynardville quite a bit. So,
Wow.
so that ties him to
Yeah.
3 of
Yeah.
the 10. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's
30%.
yeah.
30%. Okay. And I'm saving the best for last.
Okay.
Okay. James Bisset. 2 days after Shannan Gilbert's remains were found, James Bisset took his own life while in his car in Mattatuck Park. He ran a nursery, which was the main supplier of burlap in the region. So,
That's what I was talking about.
yep. And he was extremely wealthy. I don't know if you saw his house.
I did.
His house looks a lot like the new house you're about to move into.
It does not. You're giving these people the wrong idea.
It's pretty big, but no, I mean he's super wealthy. He inherited that business from his father, and they were the largest with the burlap sacks, man, everywhere. I mean, if you look at the burlap sacks that were found in the LISK cases as compared to the ones, I mean, a burlap sack's a burlap sack, but still,
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, because here's
True.
what you do is you count the
Thread
wide-
count?
Yeah, the thread count. Like and
True.
It'd be easy to match. I would think that would be Detective 101. I would think that would have been done.
right? Odd that he though. I mean, people have problems again. We're not going to bring up Ted Bundy in regards to suicide again, Keith.
No.
But it is, you never know. We've talked about a friend of mine that committed suicide and stopped at Blockbuster before and asked what was coming out next week, right?
Right.
And so, everybody says this guy had everything going for him, but he was known to go pretty hard on the party scene
Right.
and to host these kind of events. So
yeah, on 2 days after Shannon, he took his life. If he was, then that makes him, then that would make Shannon definitely a LISK victim.
Yeah, it would.
Right?
Yeah, it would. But they didn't find her body. I mean, I guess they did start finding bodies like pretty quickly after when they were looking for her. But he didn't know that at that point, unless he's like one got away.
Right.
One got away, so it's over. I don't think he would necessarily. But the burlap sacks is pretty convincing,
Mm-hmm.
So, but you do think that you would think that they would be able to tie those burlap sacks into, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
I don't
would,
know though.
I think there'd be a difference in any burlap sack. I mean, if you got a certain manufacturer, like you said, there's so many strands, that might be different than this other burlap sack over
right
here.
Yeah.
I think you could match up pretty easy.
If you're making them though and shipping them out, I mean, a number of people could, especially if you're on Long Island.
Well, I mean, the only thing would be is if he was getting them, like, was he making them, actually producing these, or
No,
was he using
See,
them?
I think that he was using them
Then
because
he-
he ran a nursery.
Okay, so then if he got
He
them
would
from
be-
different companies, then
Right.
that, that could also...
That's also something we probably need to look at. I wonder what the consistency of the burlap sacks were across the LISK victims. Was it like the same? Was it different every time? And we'll be able to go back and look up and cross check some of these things.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we're gonna get a lot of comments. A lot of people follow this. Like the People's. I kept watching the People's Magazine Investigates episode. It's a 2-part episode. It's really, really good. But again, I go back to Mary Gilbert being an activist and keeping this thing alive.
Yeah.
Because my next suspect, James Burke, was on the complete opposite end of the spectrum of Mary. He was trying not to keep this out in the public. He did not want this to go any further.
Yeah. Wow. So what do you think about this guy?
James Burke, you'll know him from the Unraveled podcast because he's the one that was beating the hell out of Chris Loeb, tying him to the floor of the, where he handcuffed him to the floor. Of the
Right. Well, no,
investigation.
I'm talking about the previous suspect.
Oh, Bill Croft?
Yeah.
What about it?
What do you think?
Or James Bisset? Nah. Like I think that the burlap sack thing is compelling. The fact that he committed suicide 2 days after Shannan went missing, I don't think had any connection to it.
Okay.
Like I just don't. I mean,
It'd be
'cause-
interesting to know if they definitely had DNA in all these cases.
it would be. Here's the other thing about James Bisset, whatever you say it, is that earlier we talked about, we kind of profiled what we believe the Long Island serial killer would be like. And we said that he would not necessarily care for these people. He would think that he's like wiping the scum off the earth, right?
Right.
Like with possibly, yeah. We're just kind of getting in the mind of him.
Yep.
With Bisset, I think that he was known to just have these people like and other people in the neighborhood have things like escorts come to the parties and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily like he was looking at them like they were the scum of the earth.
Yeah.
He was using them, to live out his fantasy life, and so it's kind of almost the opposite of the
like
profile.
Hugh Hefner.
Like Hugh Hefner, exactly.
He has some wild parties.
You need to wear your Hugh Hefner jacket.
I know, my smoking jacket.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Okay, here's the guy right here, and if this is the guy that did it, then it's pretty interesting, and we're gonna need Matt Sullivan to get on the case. It's corruption. That's why, though.
No, I know. Just joking. You bring up Matt every
I
episode.
do, because...
But he knows what he's doing, man.
He knows how to track this stuff down, man. James Burke, on December 15, 2016, the attorney for the Gilbert family said that an escort who had been conducting business with former Suffolk County Police Chief James Burke claimed he was connected to the Long Island murders.
Yep.
In November 2016, Burke had been sentenced to 46 months in federal prison, along with 3 years of supervised release for beating a man who stole a duffel bag filled with sex toys and pornography from his vehicle. Burke had pleaded guilty in February 2016 to charges of civil rights violation and conspiracy to obstruct justice. Gilbert's attorney, the guy I said you guys all need to look at, he's awesome, said in December that one escort claimed that she wanted to have...
rough sex
with Burke during an Oak Beach party. Hang on. I want to make sure. Hang on one second.
Okay.
I want to make sure that I took out some stuff here. Okay, good. The escort identified herself as Leanne. She specifically stated that at the first party she attended in April 2011 in Oak Beach, she saw Burke drag an Asian-looking woman by her hair to the ground. And she stated that the woman did, however, think that this was playful rather than violent. What?
Yeah, different strokes for different folks.
Do you think that this Asian lady could be one of the victims?
Could be the
Asian
guy that dressed as a lady?
Yeah. And it's just kind of a weird thing to be saying.
No, I know.
Is it just another weird coincidence? It probably is.
It is. But don't you think that they could have probably said, well, we know that's a guy dressed as a woman?
Not necessarily. Not at that time. I think that when they found the decomposing body with the dress, then it was probably more evident, right? But I mean, hey, some of these they look right.
Okay.
Okay, let me tell you a story real fast.
I'll go with you on it.
I'm gonna tell you a story real fast. It's kind of a funny story. You ready for this?
This gives me a headache in my headphones.
Okay. I went to Pride Festival with my wife and her cousin DJ a while back. Okay. Great, by the way. Pride was amazing. I actually had a soccer camp the next week, and I still had glitter in my hair, and all the kids were like, why do you have glitter in your hair? And I had to make up some random story. But I was at a lounge, okay, and there was a lady up singing, and she was so good. And I went up there, and I gave money, everything like that. Well, it turns out it was a guy, which was fine.
Right.
Like, I'm cool. I'm super open-minded. And it turns out he was lip-syncing, which pissed me off. That's when I was like, hey, I want my money back. Come on, dude. But my point is maybe the Asian that she saw getting drugged to the ground violently
that
could have been a dude.
Yeah, that's pretty compelling.
Okay, so Leanne said that when she saw him for the second time, she decided to hook up with him. As she was told that he was a high-ranking official, and that was intriguing to her. It is well documented that Burke used escorts and treated them violently and then paid them off. Burke was reported to have blocked an FBI probe of the LISK case during his time as police chief. And then, obviously, we can talk about the Unraveled podcast. But for me, this guy is pretty compelling as a suspect.
Yeah, I agree. He's probably, from all the suspects, the one I like the most for this.
Definitely, because part of the MO, from what I see, is that this is somebody that knows police protocol.
Right.
from the way he's dumping the bodies, where he's dumping the bodies. Because also James Burke earlier in his career was would ride around in a squad car and actually patrol the Gilgo Beach area and Oak Beach.
Yeah, and the question I have too is
So he's familiar.
he had a history of picking up prostitutes in his police car,
Yes.
in his uniform,
Yes.
on duty,
Yes.
and having sex with them,
Right.
and he doesn't get fired.
Right.
That's
It's some shady stuff going on in that area, man. You know, that's like one of the highest paid precincts in America.
yeah. They say that they make a lot of money.
A lot of money. You know, I mean, this is how corruption starts, though, dude.
Well, I know.
Promises and money and everything like that.
Yeah, it was a powerful guy too. I don't remember his name, that stood by him when this was going on and kept him from getting fired or demoted. Or did he even get demoted?
I don't even think he did, man.
And then he made chief of police.
Right. Yep. Just kept moving up the ranks, dude.
It's a dirty cop.
Yeah, he's a dirty cop.
I mean, how?
It's bizarre. Well, here's the other thing. So earlier we talked about the escorts that felt so safe not to bring their cell phones,
Yeah.
to get into somebody's car and leave their cell phone behind that was going to pay them a lot of money. Okay, so what if this guy's calling up and he's like, or, you know, they're talking on Craigslist, however they do it. I just feel like they would have been able to track that. Regardless, they're talking on the phone. And he's like, hey, I'm going to pick you up in my squad car. Please don't bring your cell phone. Like, I don't need your phone or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that how you would...
Yeah.
How else would you convince somebody to get
I
in your
don't-
car without a cell phone?
See, that's what I was saying earlier.
Unless you're a high-ranking official, they know it. He obviously had no problem telling the escorts this. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. He could be afraid that, you know, he say, well, you know, don't bring it because I don't want you recording me.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
I'm going to pay
I'm
you
the chief
extra.
of police. I'm going to pay you extra.
Yeah, $1,500 will be in your account.
Yeah, and he wouldn't necessarily need to pick him up in a squad. I mean, well,
He wouldn't.
no,
but-
he'd pick him up in his regular car. He would just have to tell them on the phone that he was
Right.
in law enforcement.
Well, he wouldn't use his squad car because somebody looking out a window last sees, you know, female getting into a squad car. Then there's going to be some questions.
Right.
So yeah, no, I like him for the murder. Or murders, excuse me. I bet he's having a really bad time in prison right now, and he deserves to. So
Yeah.
we got questions.
Let's see. Go ahead and talk.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Okay, Joy Lau. I believe this man is a cop, or he also could be a wannabe cop. The victims
True.
I found were sex workers and were cut up and put in burlap bags and dumped in the Oak estuary.
Yep.
Hmm.
Hey, police
It makes sense.
tactics, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one I like too, as far as I would think he'd be. Are they still investigating this guy? I mean, he did get put in prison
Right.
because of the beating of the guy.
Chris Loeb.
Okay, so let's look at it a little bit. So Chris Loeb found a bag of sex toys, which, you know.
Well, he was looking for a house of a prominent police officer because they were known to. There was a cop that was going around and he was busting drug dealers and taking their stash.
Oh, gotcha.
Keeping it.
Okay.
So that's why he was going around and he was just like breaking into cars left and right. The last house he gets to is James Burke, and he gets into the truck because it's unlocked. And he gets this duffel bag and he's like, oh, cool. He like opens it and there's like drugs and then there's like dildos
Yeah.
and DVDs. And so
Yeah, there were snuff films in there.
4 DVDs. Yep.
God.
And it was weird because, again, one of them, I'll just say it was like Asian. There was like a homosexual one. And then there was a snuff film, supposedly.
Right.
And so this guy, Chris Loeb, who at the time was a heroin addict, he hides the DVDs inside of a shop vac and keeps the drugs. He runs, and then they drag his ass all the way back like a mile. He's like, it was terrible. So the abuse of Chris Loeb happened almost immediately. Why would the chief of police be in his house that day?
Yeah.
That was one of the questions they posed, right? So they ended up knocking over the shop vac and somehow, and these 4 DVDs come out, never been seen again.
Right.
But he watched them. He put them in to check on them. But yeah, interesting.
Hang on a second. Hello? You there? That was Pam. I'm sure she had. I'll call her back here. She's sure she had something interesting.
I bet she has something really important.
Yep. Let's see if we can get a hold of her. Or she did it on accident. I don't know.
Hello?
Hello. Did you just call, hon?
Yes, I did, actually.
Okay. You're on the air. So don't say anything
great.
dirty.
I'm not going to say anything dirty, but you need to read both comments from that Joey Lowell. He apparently found bodies.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
Pamela,
Uh,
why can't you be here right now?
I sent screenshots to Keith. If you'll open up both screenshots and read those comments
Got it.
in order,
You're such an
it
angel.
will make more sense.
Okay. Hang on a second. Oh, I think I just hung up on her.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm an idiot sometimes.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
chimps. We're chimps.
Let me hang on. Let's get her back on the phone for a minute.
Yeah, that's
Because
really
I wonder,
interesting.
did he find the bodies? Was he a part of the search, or has he found bodies that were, across
Hello?
it? Hey, sorry, did I hang up on you, or did you hang up on me?
Oh, I think I hung up on you.
Come on, Pamela.
Tired of talking to
I've
me.
got a delay. I'm trying. I can watch.
I know
on the
because I
Kindle,
hear
but I
everything
can't
I'm.
comment.
Yeah, I can hear everything I'm saying like 15 seconds later through
Right.
your deal.
But I
So-
can't comment on the Kindle though. I can't moderate on the Kindle.
Got you.
Okay,
It's
so
not giving me the option.
now was Joey? Are you saying was he one of the people who found the?
No. Joey Lowell is someone who's in chat,
Okay.
and the text message that I just sent you has screenshots of comments that he's posted in chat. The first one says that he found some bodies on the West Coast,
Okay.
and the second one says is in regards to James Burke.
Okay. So we need to read those?
Okay. Yeah, I only got one from you, hon.
Okay, well, I'll send the first one again then.
Okay.
You're the best.
All right.
Lo-
I'm trying.
Love you, Pamela.
Love you, Pamela.
Love you. Love you too.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
All
Okay, I'm gonna go now.
All
right,
right, bye.
sweetie.
Hey, while
Bye.
you're looking that up, I was gonna just say, Kennedy texted me. My daughter, for all you guys, I have 3 daughters, 3 beautiful daughters. She wanted me to tell everybody in the chat hello. So that's from
Aw.
Kennedy. They're watching at home.
Very sweet. Okay, Joey Lowe says, not a lot of people know this, but I found 3 Long Island victims on the West Coast.
What?
I did let police know, but I believe they are not letting that info get out yet. So, that's wow. So
How does he know that they're LISK victims though?
right, because that's a good question. Or the murder stopped in Long Island, he moves to the West Coast and starts
Right.
killing there. I mean, that's possible.
It is possible, which would rule out all of our suspects.
So, Joey, if you can relay to my wife on there, what makes you think it is the Long Island serial killer? Because, I mean, there are lots of, we have prostitutes that are found out here.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all over the country.
Well, and even if let's say that they were found in burlap sacks,
Yeah.
like that
And
could be
they're-
a copycat.
Yeah, if they're in burlap sacks, and that makes it a little more interesting.
It does make it more compelling, but my point is you know what I'm saying? Like,
But they're
somebody could-
they're an easy prey for serial killers all over the country, and so
I'm sure it's all over the countries.
right. Well, yeah, probably is. But I'm just saying, and I'm not saying what he's saying is not factual. I mean,
That
as
would
far as
actually-
it being Long Island serial killer, I'm just
Right.
saying, they're easy targets. There lots of major cities, Chicago, New York, everywhere, Boston, have dead prostitutes showing up sometimes.
Absolutely.
doesn't
Oh,
mean.
I
it's-
would. Hey,
but if they were found in burlap sacks,
that changes things.
and even if they're strangled, that's still a little questionable.
It is.
I'd
I'd be curious though. Put it in there. I'm curious.
Put what in where?
No, I want him to put it in there. Like,
Oh, yeah.
What leads him to believe that they're LISK victims?
He said the MO is the same, and I found them in 1991.
Interesting.
Okay. So
What do you mean you found them? Like you personally found them, like as on a search party, or you tracked down like some records and found victims that had similar MO to the LISK?
yeah. So Joey, if you want to call 205-730-6441,
Absolutely, please call.
go ahead and give us a phone call. That's interesting. But it sounds like you actually found the bodies, if I'm getting that right.
Hey, that would though lend a hand to the timetable that we're working with, because
In the 90s.
early 90s, moves to the East Coast in the late or mid, or so, excuse me, 94, 95, 96, continues his reign of terror.
Right. But if we definitely thought it was this Burke guy, the chief,
It wouldn't be him.
it wouldn't be him unless he had some type of ties out there. But he was the police chief in the 90s, correct?
Right.
So, okay, yeah. I finally got it, Pam, by the way. Tim, no, I'm not in law enforcement. Okay, I'll read these. Let me just get my glasses on.
I'm not saying
I need,
I'm not
those
saying
little
it.
chain.
You do.
I need the old man chain that where you hang your glasses
Please
down.
get that. And then I'll get you.
I did wear those for a time, and I loved them.
I bet.
Let's see. It says Tim. No, I guess he's responding to Tim in our chat room. No, I'm not in law enforcement. I've been studying serial murderers for years, and I like to hunt them down. The first killer I found was the Green River Killer 9 years before he was caught.
Wow.
And then he found. Then there's another question or statement. I found them researching cold cases.
Got it. Okay.
So he didn't actually physically find them.
Right. Do you want to call in?
Yeah, if you want to call in, Joey, you're welcome to 205-730-6441. And if you don't, that's okay. You can put your comments in there. I know a lot of people don't like to call. And
that's really interesting, though.
And my wife can relay those to me. Yeah, it is. It is. I'd be curious to, like you said, the Green River Killer. So he says, I found
him 9 years before.
9 years before he was caught. So I wonder what evidence he had that it was Gary Ridgway.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That is very interesting. But yeah, I would say getting back what we're talking about with Burke, having snuff films, and also what cop carries a duffel bag full of sex toys in his car,
Exactly.
Yeah,
well,
so
he's
that's
too big for his britches.
Yeah,
he got careless and let some heroin addict steal it out of his truck.
Well, I mean, do you think he was picking these girls up in a squad car?
I don't. No, I don't.
Why would you carry that? I mean, let's look at that a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're a cop and you've got a bag of sex toys.
Actually, no.
What it could be too is he still was seeing prostitutes in his police car,
right?
And having sex with them is what it sounds like to me. Doesn't make him a serial killer. So possibly that's maybe why he had those in there. Because, like you said, you don't want a squad car seen anywhere near a victim's house, even if they don't bring their phone. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
You'd be like, yeah, I saw a Suffolk County police officer pick her up.
Yeah,
because a lot of these girls feel like their significant others knew what they were doing.
Right. So I mean, I would say that evidence there just tells me he hadn't gave up his little habit.
Right.
Perhaps, but it does. But I'm not saying he's not the serial killer either. With his prostitute. Well, I wonder if they ever talked to any of the prostitutes. I mean, surely they had to do a whole investigation, right?
Right.
And talk to any of the prostitutes that he saw. Was he ever violent with them? Were they ever feared for their life? That kind of thing. Because if they did, I mean, seeing prostitutes and killing them is a whole different deal.
Absolutely.
And it could be he was just having sex, and he continued that as a chief of police.
Right.
Not necessarily meaning he's guilty. That's the only reason I could think of him having that bag of toys in his car.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
So that's where I kind of met at that. I mean, I still think he's a person of interest.
I do too. Hello.
Yeah, it's not even coming through the. Hang on just a minute, buddy. Hello.
Yeah, hello. I was calling in.
Hey, is this Joey?
Yeah, this is Joey.
Hey, Joey, can you turn your radio down?
Oh, okay. No problem. That better?
Yep. Yeah, we just have a delay thing.
Hey,
Okay.
Joey. Thanks for calling, man.
Joey, thanks for calling. So
Hey, no problem, man.
So you've been researching serial killers for quite some time then?
Yes, my father was a police officer for a while, and he went to work at the Oregon State Prison for 27 years as a doctor. And so that's kind of what got me into looking for serial killers and stuff. And I just decided to pick the Green River case because that's what the big thing everybody was talking about at the time. And
Right.
just did a lot of research and read everything I could get on him. And I looked at all the suspects, and the only one that stood out to me was Gary Ridgway. He had been caught with prostitutes before. He drove the same kind of cars, and so he fit. And I just said, another thing I don't really like telling people this because some people believe it, some people don't. But I have a gift. I'm able to see things sometimes before they happen, sometimes after. I have seen fires, car wrecks.
Wow.
I found a dead body. The girl Crystal Wilberger that was kidnapped and raped here in Oregon years ago. They caught the guy who did it, but he wouldn't tell them where her body was. And she came to me in a dream and told me where she was. And I went with her in the dream, and it was where I had been hunting the year before. So I called the tip line and told them, that information, and said, you can do what you want with it. I'm not saying that I'm a psychic or anything, but just it'd be good to just check it out to make sure that you can rule it out. And they found her body 23 hours later, right where I said she'd be.
Man.
Well, you know that you are.
Did they question you? I would,
No. I never heard a thing from police, and in fact, they didn't even mention that I had called in the tip. They took all the credit.
Wow. Well, because I would think that they, if someone called and I was a cop and they said they knew exactly where the body was and they were psychic, I would have questioned you. But
yeah, I totally understand that.
Well,
yeah.
you are in good company because this
is a paranormal. We started out as a paranormal show, and then it got into this true crime thing, and we try to do both. So yeah, this fits perfect with our show.
Yeah, we actually completely believe in that.
So did you have dreams?
Believe it or not, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, excuse me. Did you have dreams about like the Gary Ridgway killings or anything?
Yes, I did see him dumping bodies. I couldn't actually see his face, but I saw the truck and I saw him dumping bodies. But because I'm not from Washington, I'm in Oregon, I did not know the area, so I couldn't tell police where they were. And so I just kind of took it all, in stride and was saying, okay, I know that that's him. And I'm pretty sure that the police knew that Gary Ridgway was the guy, probably about maybe 10 years before they actually did the DNA thing to finalize it.
Yeah.
But like they said, they couldn't do anything because they didn't have the proof.
Right. Yeah. Gary was looked at quite a bit by the cops as a suspect for those crimes. But like you said, yeah, they couldn't tie everything together just then. But man,
right. And one thing the police do that, is, they're still doing today is back what they were doing back in 1888 when they were hunting Jack the Ripper. In my opinion, and from my research of that case and my gift and stuff, I'm pretty sure I know who Jack the Ripper was. And they talked to the man and blew him off like he was nobody. And so now everybody who looks into that case blows this guy off too, and just kind of like, oh no, it's not him. They cleared him.
Who is
but
it?
what they don't realize is that his name is George Hutchinson.
But wouldn't Jack the Ripper be dead by now?
Yes, he would be dead by now.
Yeah. But I'm saying that you said something about that you gave tips about that guy and they questioned him.
People that are still
No.
the case.
This was that was the Crystal Wilberger case. Thing is where
I
they
got
caught
you.
the guy
Okay.
that killed her. And,
Okay.
You're
But
saying
yeah, I
you're
was
saying
just
people
saying
that are
that,
looking people that are looking at the Ripper case nowadays completely shrug off the Hutchinson guy.
Yeah. They totally just show him off because he's been, looked at, talked to, and then they said, no, he's not the guy. But he was the guy. I mean, everything points directly to him. And in fact, of all the 100 and so people that suspects that I went through, he was the only one who fit in every single way. So
Wow.
I don't know how police, the only reason why police back then didn't see it is because, of course, they didn't know what we know today.
For
Yeah.
sure.
What did this guy do for a living? Was he a butcher or something like that? Or
No, he was a laborer, and he lived on Commercial and Wentworth Street alone. And he knew at least two of the victims, which was Mary Kelly, the fifth one, and Catherine Eddowes, the fourth one. And the way that I know that is because out of all Jack the Ripper's victims, only those two women had their faces cut up and distorted.
Ooh.
And a lust serial murderer will always pick people that they don't know to kill. But if they do kill somebody that they do know, they will cut up the face or sometimes even destroy the whole body so it depersonalizes that victim.
wow, man.
So what got you on the list thing? Explain that for the Long Island.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was just curious how you got on to the Long Island serial killer, how you got onto this case, and how you tied it back into the West Coast in the early 90s.
He studies unsolved cases.
Yeah, I know that, but like,
Yeah. I basically, I was, I've been studying them for years and stuff, and I try to take all kinds of cold cases and kind of, do what I can to find the perpetrator and stuff. And then I saw the news about the Long Island killers and stuff, and so I had that in the back of my mind as I was doing my other research, and I just happened to stumble on 3 victims that were found in California. And they were all prostitutes, all cut up, all put in burlap bags and dumped in the Oak Estuary. And that right there is the MO of the Long Island killer.
wow,
Man.
that is really interesting. So
And
they
it
were
seems
cut
like-
up.
it
They
seems
were
like
in
to
burlap
me-
sacks. Yeah.
Yes, it seems like to me that when he was over there on the West Coast, he either was over there before, for a long time, and then just started his killing, or he was there and started his killing and then moved over to the East Coast because only 3 victims popped up over there.
Right.
Wow.
And actually, one of the victims in the Long Island case, there's an Oak Estuary somewhere over there, real close to where those other victims were dumped. And in fact, I do believe one of the Long Island victims was actually pulled out of the Oak Estuary or found so close to it that it's pretty much there.
Wow.
Man. So, gosh.
That is wild. Do you have
So
like
who,
the
who do you-
names?
who do you like for the Zodiac killing?
yeah. No, really quick. Do you have like do you have any suspects in mind?
Yeah.
Not, I haven't gotten any like visions or anything like that because whoever this killer is, he's smart. He's very, very smart. And once he's been found out, he's gone back down under. And he's either, I know he hasn't stopped killing, but he's either keeping these bodies, somewhere where only he knows, or he's got a dump spot that only he knows. So he hasn't stopped. If he hasn't been caught, he has not been stopped.
Right. And just in him maybe just moving around the country, it would just make it impossible almost to catch this guy.
Right. And it's really hard to catch cops unless you, really got them, like they did the Joseph D'Angelo guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you have any, going to that killing, the Golden State Killer, did you ever have any dreams about that killing or?
No, actually, I hadn't even got to that killing because I was trying to find out who was killing all the adult guys that were going to bars and then being found drowned. And they were saying that it wasn't, that it wasn't a killer doing it. They were just drunk and all that kind of stuff. Well,
yeah.
that's not true. in my opinion, and from what I've seen, it's four guys. It's 3 white guys and a black guy, and there's also 1 female involved. And one of the guys, I'm not sure which one, but one of them is also a police officer, and he is the one who is making it to where they're not catching on, or they're not, finding out that this is a serial killer case.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, that is.
And I do believe that they are. I believe that they are guys that were in the service, and either they're in the service now or they were, and they also travel a lot. And I do believe they are responsible, or at least 1 or 2 of them are responsible for the ones in London that are going on right now. Also, I believe they're calling him the pusher over there.
Wow. You should start your own podcast, Joey.
My God, dude. Okay, so hey, Zodiac, go.
Yeah. What about, you got any feelings on the Zodiac?
I just started kind of looking into that case. In fact, I just watched 2 documentaries on it last night, and I haven't gotten anything yet. But it's really hard to do anything until I start getting those hints,
Sure.
from my gift. And I don't know where I got this gift. I can't control it. It gives me things, and then it doesn't give me things. Like, for example, on the Green River case, I had a dream where I was on this city bus, and it was filled with these dead girls. And I'm like, why in the hell am I on this thing? And then I found out later on, after Ridgway was caught, that his father was a city bus driver.
Whoa.
And that,
Oh my God.
that he rode the city bus to school sometimes, and the strip where most of the victims were taken from.
Wow.
Man, that's crazy.
Hey, are you familiar with the Delphi case? The 2.
Yes, I am familiar with that.
Okay.
Any thoughts about that?
At this time, I haven't gotten anything. I have been looking into that case, though. But I believe, just from what I've learned from it, that whoever killed those girls is in that town and knows at least one of those girls for a fact. He knows them. So, and I think that one of those girls may have been going there to meet this person.
Yeah, that's what me and Garrett think the same thing.
Hey, but the only thing that is a little bit different is there was also a double murder in Evansdale that was very similar.
Yes, I do remember that case also.
Yeah, so I feel like that those 2 were connected. So if you ever get a chance,
It is very, very possible that they were connected. I mean, the MO is pretty much the same, only for a few different things that like that I'm not getting in that case that I am in this, is that I think that one of those girls knew who they were meeting. So,
right.
And I don't think the other girls knew that they were going to meet anybody. I think they were just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. We have an episode on Evansdale and Delphi. You should go listen to it sometime.
We also have 2
Yeah,
episodes.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, we have 2 episodes on the Zodiac, so watch that as well. We go over all the suspects, and it's a pretty good show. Well,
Cool. I'll check that out.
all right.
Well, this paranormal thing comes right into play with me also. I've also been a Sasquatch researcher for over 30 years now, and
Yes!
I have actually seen 3 Sasquatch in my time here in Oregon,
Yep.
and and I know a lot of the people that are on TV and stuff like that. I could have been on TV, but I don't do that. They're all doing it for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. So
You're
I
the
just do
man,
my
Joe.
own research. And
How
That
cool!
is so awesome.
We need to have we need
please,
to have
can
an
we do
episode on
another-
Bigfoot.
Can we do another one, please?
Yeah, we can do another one, and we can have Joey call in.
Yeah. Would you call in if we did another episode on our Bigfoot?
yeah, sure, no problem.
That'd be awesome. Well, man, Joey's
Yeah,
been,
I've already done 3 radio shows actually on that, and talked to people and told them what I've been experienced with up there and what I've learned from all this years of research and stuff like that. So yeah, and I said, I'm the only one on the internet, or at least on Facebook internet, that has put out there that I will take anybody to my 4 areas that I do my own research in, and I will teach you what I learned, and I will show you things, and I will do all that for free. All the rest
Wow.
of the researchers are out there charging like $500 for a weekend or whatever,
Right,
but you're
right.
not guaranteed to see anything. And of course, I'm not guaranteeing you're going to see anything or hear anything either, but, you know, at least you're going to learn a lot more, and I'm not going to charge you $500.
Right. That's awesome. Well, Joey, we're going to stay in touch with you.
Please.
Yeah, we're going to have to do an episode on Bigfoot, and
Hey, if you want, our email is lifeafterlife@gmail.com. If you want to send over some contact
Okay.
info.
yeah, absolutely.
That way we can keep in touch.
But anyway, well, Joey,
Okay.
thanks for calling, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Hey, no problem, man. Sorry about the mishap, though, letting all the viewers think I found the actual bodies. But no, I've never actually found a murder victim body, and I hope I never do. But
Right. For sure.
but I can understand how they would think that.
But thank you for your work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, take care, my man, and you have a great night, okay?
All right, you guys do the
See
same,
ya.
man. I'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
All right,
Bye.
bye-bye.
That was
Wow.
fascinating.
That was very fascinating. If you just get him to solve this Delphi thing, and
I know.
then
Just, that's a
everybody
wrap.
everybody can be done with it.
Yeah. It's a
for
wrap.
sure. So let's see. Will that change things?
That-
no.
Hey, that is really strange.
Yeah, it is.
That's why I want him to contact me so we can see those three. I would love to like look into those three cases
Yeah.
of on the West Coast, early '90s, cut up and burlap sacks. I mean, that changes things.
And if it does, then yeah, it changes. Well,
monument.
then
Like,
every suspect we have is not the.
isn't it like that in every case we do though?
Yeah.
Where we go through this whole thing and then at the end we're like, okay, well, scratch all that.
Unless you find ties from all our suspects that lived in LA or in
Yeah.
California in the early 90s
Right. Yeah.
and then moved.
Right. No, it'd be difficult though.
Yeah.
And it does just stop. Like, because one thing he mentioned was, until they're found and then it just stops.
Right. And that was the thing I was wanting to talk about as well, is after, these suspects were looked at pretty hard. I mean, there was no more bodies recovered, right?
Right.
I mean, because even if you were still killing, you would just find, well, they know the Gilgo beaches. We can't dump the bodies
Off
there.
limits. Yep.
And have to find somewhere else. So you start finding bodies other places. So he either got out of town or he closed up the shop.
Right. Yep.
One of the two. So,
Man, it's wild.
yeah, with that aside, you like Burke,
Yep.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say Burke or Hackett, just because Hackett's weird, but at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think if we have a hyoid bone that's cracked or
Yeah.
broke,
That kind of changes things.
yeah,
I can't wait to look into that more.
Was okay. So did this Dr. Hackett? Did he have a wife at the house when this happened?
I don't know if she was there when it happened. I know she has a wife.
Because if she had been there,
Right.
then he's certainly not going to chase her out, strangle her, and
No, yeah. Well,
and again, I would find it
he
hard
ain't
to
chasing no one out.
right.
First
right,
off.
right. Well, he might if he's alone, but at the same time, I mean, neighbors seeing you,
Screams
and then
and
let the
yells,
girl, you've already made a phone call to somebody, and that traces, you would just be done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Definitely.
You wouldn't want to mess with it at all.
I think it's definitely not Hackett. And
Mona does.
Mona thinks it's Hackett.
I think Mona said she thought it was Hackett.
I actually do think it's Hackett. I'm just kidding. Just because Mona's from England.
Hey, she's not from England. Would you?
I think she is.
Mona, you need to move to England, apparently. So, Mona, if you're still out there listening, and what happened to Jaggy C, my cousin? She's gone. I wonder if she's still out there. But, Mona, do you think it's Dr. Hackett before we wrap this up? I'm just kind of curious. I mean, I kind of can see she's, he makes the phone call, lies about it, but then again, I could see him not wanting to get involved.
So odd. It's just bizarre. Either
And
way.
it's in his backyard. I just wouldn't be dumping people close to my home.
Either way, he's an a-hole.
Yeah.
For calling Mary.
She says Hackett killed Gilbert. Okay, so Mona, let me ask you this. Do you think Hackett was a Long Island serial killer? Or do you think he just killed Gilbert? And we know
Let's
it
go,
takes
Mona.
15
Nope.
seconds it's a 15-second
Answer
delay.
now.
Yeah, answer now, damn it. Yeah. Mona, our UK friend.
Yeah, her friend from England.
She is now. Just like I'm the Zodiac, multiple killers. Okay.
Ooh.
That's interesting.
That is a theory that's out there for sure.
But wouldn't they all have to work in tangent, though? I mean, to dump the body.
Well, and to know that we're all going to use burlap sacks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to use burlap. Okay, are we going with burlap or are we going with plastic? You know, like you'd have to coordinate. So, yeah, there would have to be some sort of communication.
Yeah,
there.
and have your agree. You have to dump all the bodies at the same area.
I dumped my body there. Why are you trying to dump it?
But you know how hard that would be to keep. I mean, one person
spills the beans.
Yeah, you got 3 people. Someone, I mean, it's you got more risk of getting caught. So
that is a theory that's out there, though, that it is more than one person.
Yeah, Mona,
I don't think it is, but
Mona says no. He just killed Gilbert. That we know.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fair. That's fair because he definitely could have.
Jason under the scope. Zodiac was Arthur Lee Allen, in my opinion. Okay, so Jason, what about the DNA that didn't match?
Go watch our episodes too if you haven't, Jason. Check them out.
Yeah,
They're pretty interesting.
Man, Arthur Lee Allen just screams Zodiac. I mean, he had the same size of shoe.
Yeah.
And and also in this guy's defense, do we really know it was Allen's DNA? But yeah, I don't think it was Arthur Lee Allen. I think it's either. God, I got 3. I got 3, right? Ross Sullivan, Lawrence Kane.
Nope.
And
Gyke.
Or Gykowski. Yeah, he's
his
one.
name was in it. Gyke.
Yeah, but
he followed through with his commitment to give him his name, and he did.
Yeah.
No, the Zodiac's crazy. All these cases are nuts.
And Joey
man.
says Allen has been cleared. Yeah, he was cleared from the DNA.
Yeah.
But like I said, man, I mean, he sure screamed Zodiac with everything. But the thing we have the problem with him too is the description of the Zodiac that Mike Mageau gave says the guy had brown bushy hair. We know even that he was Arthur Lee Allen was balding. Even at that time, he was receding quite a bit.
Master of disguise.
And then the San Francisco cop said he had a crew cut. We still know Arthur Lee Allen at that time did not.
Went through the time to embroider that could have made a wig.
Yeah.
I know it's difficult.
But we talked about the crew cut wig.
I know we did. I
don't think they made crew cut wigs. I just do not think so.
I also don't think that the San Francisco cop was paying much good attention to them when he was talking to him. So
yeah. See, Jason says Allen was positively identified in a lineup by the victim that survived. Look it up. Yeah, I know. Mike Mageau pointed him out. But Mike Mageau's got a lot of problems too. And he
understandable.
Yeah, very understandable. If you talk to him today, he's not reliable about it. His story changes constantly. He hasn't been consistent for years.
It's been a long time though, and he went through a lot.
He did.
Crazy, dude.
But again, I mean, maybe Arthur Lee Allen was wearing a wig, a bushy wig at that time. Michael Mageau said he was 5'9", and Arthur Lee Allen was about 6 foot, 6'1", something like that.
Right.
But again, like we talked about, it's always hard. If you're sitting in a car, you're trying to tell how tall someone is.
Definitely.
Maybe he looked 6 foot,
and
maybe he looked 5'9". He's actually 6 foot.
What did Zodiac say? He said, "I look like I do in the in the drawing, but I look different when I'm doing my thing."
Yeah. And Jason says Allen also had the Zodiac map. I don't understand what's the Zodiac map that you're talking about? Unless he's talking about like the astrological map.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, but also we talked about a little bit how Arthur Lee Allen, he liked to be called Lee, right? It was almost like he had the Zodiac watch, all sorts of weird stuff with him. Coincidental, obviously.
Yeah, let's see. Don Spain, the crew cut description came from the teenagers who saw him at Paul Stein's scene. Yeah, Don also, there was 2 police officers who saw him for sure and actually called him over to their vehicle, and the gentleman had a crew cut.
Right.
Yeah, so, and even Zodiac kind of taunted the police, saying your 2 police officers made a oops. They could have caught me. So he was admitting that was him.
Hey, how stressful was that case?
Oh my God, yeah, that in Delphi about killed me.
We wouldn't have a very good show if you were dead.
Yeah, that'd be bad. All right, guys, it's 9:35. We need to get out of here.
Hey, can I say one thing?
Yeah.
You did so awesome getting this set up today. Good job.
Man, I was.
I know
Under,
you were stressed.
I mean, down to the second. I'm glad it's working.
I am too.
And now that I'm looking at this video, it's not too bad. It's not quite as clear as we used to have it, but it could use. It could use. I can tweak it a little bit.
Hey, looking at that screen, isn't that cool though? Like to see all this discussion going on.
Yeah.
And we're just like sitting here chatting about it and talking.
Yeah, very much.
So cool, man.
Well, that's what I said. Like I want to make it where we're just like sitting at my house.
Life after life.
Life after life.
Just keeps better and better.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank
for
you
joining
guys
us,
so
seriously.
much. We're almost at 1,000. We need 15 more people.
Please,
so share this video.
Dude,
like,
please.
share, subscribe. But if you share it, that gets other people
Mona.
subscribe to the channel.
Mona, share it with your friends in England. You
Yeah,
guys
and
can have some tea and biscuits.
God, Mona, you want me to punch him in the nose?
Get us 15 subs and I'll let Keith just smash me in the nose on camera.
We'll come into homicide live.
Oh my God.
Man, that would go viral.
Oh, yeah.
Then we get 1 million. We get 1 million views in a day. So anyway, all right. Well, Mona, that show was for you.
We love you guys.
Any shows you guys are wanting us to do, or any crimes, or even we can get back to the paranormal thing too.
Oh, we're doing Bigfoot.
Yeah, we're gonna
Sasquatch, here we come.
Yeah, Sasquatch, here we come. For sure. But anyway, look, everybody, thank you so much. We love you guys. You're what makes this happen. This is a lot of fun because this is what I envisioned, is having a bunch of people in discussion, and we all just discuss this and bringing attention to a lot of the unsolved cases. I think is very important.
Absolutely.
Keeping it alive.
Absolutely.
So I think it helps the family and whatnot.
Joey, thanks for calling, man.
Joey, thanks
Email
for
me.
coming. All right, guys, good night. And we will, there's no logo anymore, so we'll just say bye. Peace.